It began in the frozen silence of 1968, when a Soviet submarine surfaced without warning in the Arctic seas. For weeks, Moscow had received no contact, only static bursts echoing through the radio channels. When the vessel finally broke through the ice, its arrival felt less like a rescue and more like a ghost ship clawing back from the deep. No distress signals, no warnings, just a sudden emergence beneath a gray sky. Even the ocean seemed reluctant to give it back. As days blurred into nights, the crew began to hear faint hums between the metal plate stones that rose and fell in rhythm with the black strokes on the walls. Some swore it was the sound of water pressing against the hull, but others whispered it was voices drowned echoes of men who never surfaced. The hum grew louder, seeping into their dreams, until the crew could no longer tell whether they were listening or being listened to. In a locked drawer beneath the captain's desk, a worn leather journal was found, its pages filled not with orders, but frantic sketches of the same black shapes that haunted the walls. Each entry grew more unhinged lines, crossing into darkness, circles spiraling endlessly, as if the captain was recording messages meant for something unseen. The final page was different, no words, only a black void painted across the paper, as if the captain had tried to capture the very sound that now consumed the crew. When the night watch began, some sailors reported seeing shadows move across the corridors, even when no one else was there. The crew called it the Shadow Watch, a presence that seemed to patrol with them, step for step, but never making a sound. Those assigned to the shadow hours rarely lasted long by dawn. Their eyes were sunken, their words clipped, as if they had spoken all night with something no one else could see. At first, it was a whisper, barely audible, above the hum of the engines. But soon, the walls themselves seemed to speak, their seams rattling with broken voices. Some swore the voices called their names, while others claimed to hear old songs, hymns of drowned men rising through iron lungs. By midnight, the murmurs had become a Khorasan invisible crew, singing in unison with the dark murals that crept further with each breath. The black murals no longer stayed on the walls. Crewmen awoke to find their uniforms smudged with paint, as if the submarine itself had reached out to mark them. Discipline faltered, orders were ignored, watches missed, as sailors whispered only of the voices that grew louder with every hour beneath the waves. By the seventh night, the captain's log was abandoned. The maps untouched. What guided the submarine now was not command, but the growing black presence within its steel heart. Whispers turned into defiance. Sailors began refusing their posts, claiming the submarine no longer followed their orders, but its own. Some spoke of mutiny, others of surrender. But none dared touch the helmet's wheel was coated in black paint, as though claimed by unseen hands. By dawn, the crew sat in silence, their eyes empty, their voices gone. Whatever commanded the submarine no longer needed them to speak. Without warning, the submarine shuddered as if struck by an unseen force. Lights flickered, and black water seeped through cracks that should never have existed. The sea outside had become an ocean of ink, no waves, no foam, just a flat, endless blackness pressing against every window. Then came the sound, not a hum, but a crashing roar, as if the ocean itself had become a single, endless wave pounding against the steel. After the roar came silence, suffocating stillness that pressed harder than the sea itself, as if sound had been erased from the world. Even the engines fell quiet. their relentless heartbeat replaced by a void that made the crew feel as though they were already entombed beneath the waves. In that silence, the paintings seemed to breathe, edges pulsing, black veins spreading wider, as if the submarine's true captain had finally taken command. One by one, the watchmen vanished from their posts, leaving only uniforms and boots behind, silent offerings to the unseen tide. Patrol routes, once filled with footsteps, became hollow corridors, echoing with nothing but the hum of a submarine that seemed to breathe on its own. The crew whispered of sentinels stolen by the painting's guardians, turned shadows pulled into the black veins that now marked the vessel's skin. The hull began to groan as if alive, each rivet straining like a tooth about to snap. A metallic scream swelling beneath the ocean's crushing weight. Men froze, hands on bulkheads, as the submarine shuddered, its metal skin no longer machine, but creature writhing in the deep. With every creak, the vessel seemed to choose what it would keep, and what it would crush. Its voice no longer metal, but hunger. Amid the chaos, a trembling hand reached for the radio, each turn of the dial drowned by the submarine's agonized roar. Static screamed through the speakers. Then beneath it, an impossible sound, the voice of a crewman long dead. Surface, the phantom voice whispered, not a warning, but a command, echoing in the chamber like a verdict. The captain gave the order to rise, but as the engines roared, the submarine itself seemed to resist, as if chained to the abyss. As ballast tanks filled, the vessel lurched upward, but with every meter gained, the black veins deepened, splitting like roots into steel. The ocean did not release them freely. Its groan of steel was a toll, a price demanded, as though ascent itself was theft from the deep. The submarine broke the surface at dawn, its steel shell dripping with seawater and shadow, as if the ocean had spat it out unwillingly. On the deck, silence reigned. The crew stared not at the horizon, but at the black veins still pulsing across the steel, alive in daylight. What surfaced was not the submarine that had dived below, but something changed, half vessel, half grave, carrying the abyss within.